Welcome back. If you are just joining us, you are on to your favorite program, Democracy on the Rule of Law. With me on the show this evening is Barrister Obiora Obe, a respected legal practitioner practicing here in Lagos State. Welcome you, Barrister Obiora.
Thank you very much, and very good evening to our esteemed viewers.
And also with me today is Dr. Frederick Odutola. Doctor, welcome you to the show this evening.
It's my pleasure to be here once again. Thank you so much, and good evening, viewers.
All right, without wasting much of our time, we'll delve into the nitty-gritty of today's episode. And of course, we have been inundated with all of the issues surrounding the senator representing the good people of Kogi State, Senator Natasha Udwara. Of course, we have had us to discuss about her suspension from the Senate, the constitutionality or otherwise of that, and of course, as a result of the fallout of all of those, all of the issues, we have also seen that a recall process, have been initiated, to recall her from the Senate. Of course, INEC received the petition, and they had the cause to issue statement within the week. By Sophia, but we want to know what it takes, to recall a serving senator according to the Constitution.
Thank you very much. The Constitution has made provision in section 69 concerning the recall of a legislator. Really, the power to recall lies with the people, and the power is to exercise when a petition is written against a legislator, in this instant case a senator, and same is signed by 50% of the registered voters in that constituency. When that is done, then the machinery is put in place for the recall of that legislator, in this instant case Senator Natasha Udwara. Now, in her case, like in some other cases, because since 1999, when we commenced this present democratic dispensation, there have been several attempts to recall legislators at various times. In 2007, an attempt to recall a legislator. In 2012, in 2016, 2017. That of 2017 was that of Melai. Yes. And Melai, they attempted to recall him. They also attempted to recall Chris Ngige. And they caught them, and most of these attempts failed. And the reason for their failure is, most of them, the inability to garner the 50% requirement by the Constitution, because the Constitution says that it is 50% of the registered voters have signed. Then that is when they can now take the next step, which is for INEC to go into the stick 2 of it. So in Natasha's case, the attempt to recall her hit the brick wall. Why did it hit the brick wall? Because only about 43.8 persons among the registered voters signed. And of course, some analysts and legal experts as well as observers have also looked at it, that how do you even verify the signatures of the people that allegedly signed? And the insinuation going around is that the record thing, instead of being used by the masses to record non-performing legislators, are being used as political weapon against perceived political opponents. In the instant case, the lady has come out to say that she made allegations against the Senate president, and the base of the allegations, she was suspended. Before her suspension would proceed to court, she got an interim order, and then notwithstanding that, they suspended her for six months, and then initiated the recall process, which has hit the brick wall now. Then The question is, what is the next thing they are likely to do to silence her? She had gone to her people and they made allegations that there were attempts made or meetings held to eliminate her. Whether it's true or not, we don't know. But what I'm saying is that the process of recall of legislators that is encapsulated in the Constitution should be used for the purpose to which it is meant. It is meant for legislators that are not performing their duties, or those that have neglected people, or those that are so far removed from the people that put them there that they don't even have the interest of their people at heart. But this time around, the drama that is ongoing is a drama that is aimed at silencing a legislator who has come up to lay some allegations against the Senate president. At the end of the day, I'm sure the people concerned will look into the matter and come up with clear indications as to what actually transpired. Of course, I heard also the week just gone by that at the appropriate time, she will come up with her evidence as regards the allegations she made against the state president.
All right, Dr. Frederick. Of course, she has alleged that the people were not even informed that what they were signing was for her recall. You know, they were promised empowerment and all of that, you know, and they signed, they were coerced into signing and all of that. So that brings us to the question of who is supposed to bring this petition for a recall of a senator. And of course, in that petition, wouldn't there be reasons why the senator should be recalled in the first place?
Well, as the last speaker said, that it is politically motivated. It is not that Natasha offended people. Well, the major grouse was that she went to the United Nations and made allegation, and that she should have washed our dirty linen in the public. Well, that's personal opinion. Now, the actual idea of the report is politically motivated, so we all know that. So it's not that she's done something wrong.
That's your opinion?
No, it's not the masses' opinion.
No, because there are a lot of people who signed.
Yes, now let's come to that. The people who were called to come with their NIN, they were interviewed to come with their NIN and their voters card, and when they came, they were told that they were going to give them some palliatives. So they were writing their names, putting everything down, and then at the end of the day, all those names were gathered, and then they now realized that they were just given transport fare. That's those who went there. So at the end of the day, the number of voters in the 5 local government areas, and the 5 local government areas where she came from were Adavi, Ajaokuta, Ogorimagongo, Okei, and Okene. So total number of voters, 474,554. And number of the people who came for that invitation was 208,132, amounting to 43.86%, which is still 6.14% short of 50%. So that's the first failure for those who didn't like to see the face of Natasha. So I think she's won the first leg in that situation. And let's also realize that at the end of the day, when you look at this young lady's performance in our constituency in the last 1 year, you will see that she has added more value to the voters in our constituency than any other senator has done. You see many senators, in fact there's one that was giving the people cutlass and hoe in the senatorial, and that's his own special project. That is special project for, you know, one even took a tank of water and was giving drinking water to people. You know, it can be so horrible. When you look at what this young lady has done in our constituency, and then if you see the kind of rousing welcome when they said there was no road, no movement, they did roadblock, nobody was there to do hair block. They said she couldn't come by road, she came by helicopter. Landed there. You cannot put those people together and say you want to they are influenced. No, you can see from the face of those people, these were people who loved Natasha for who she is. I don't belong to Kogi State, but we must be careful the way we tread. That's something that should have been handled inside the chamber has become something that has even gone to the court now. They are just realigned, they assigned it to another judge, so it's already becoming sub judice. And you look at it and say, is there no better way to do things that they are elected to do than to be following all these kind of things about a young lady who the youths are supporting and who they asked a grouse for the Senate president. That's just it.
So you feel that the whole recall issue was motivated by the issue she has with the Senate president?
Yes, it's because of what she had with the Senate. But it's not what I feel, it's what I saw. The feeling is, you know, it's everybody, people who I interviewed. Even some people did not write their name because I said, why would I say, oh, they left. Maybe that's why I didn't have enough number. Because those are educated, wanted to know why they were there with their NIN and voters card. And so, they just felt it doesn't make any sense to them. You know, it's like poverty is now a weapon in Nigerian politics. It's a weapon. Those who wanted the money ballet for transport and other things, they had to still put. But those who could afford transport on their own just felt that you cannot call us there and think that you can be upon our intelligence. So it was an open thing. People shouted and said, can you imagine? They called us there, so people were shouting. It's not my opinion. It's what happened at the recall. That people were called, they were asked to bring their NIN cards, they were asked to bring their voters card, and then they said they were going to give them palliative, and they now realized that it became signature to recall Natasha.
Alright, so
that amounts to deception.
So that brings us to the question, what role does INEC need to play? Because I've asked initially, who is to bring this petition? Are there no reasons why this petition should be brought in the first place?
The petition, like I mentioned earlier, is usually by the people that voted for that legislator. Like in this case, the people in our constituents that voted her into power to represent them at the Senate. If from her performance they discover that her performance is dismal, she has not done anything, has not done any project, has not been representing them very well, and is not showing any competence, then they will put up a petition which will be addressed to INEC that they want to recall so and so person, and it must be signed by at least 50% of the people.
Yeah, is INEC not supposed to be involved in this process of recall?
No, they're not supposed to be involved in it. Actually, it's the people who vote you in. Anybody who has a locust and die, a reason that this might can gather people together to do. And in fact, in this situation, they went to show the lady who dropped the letter to INEC. It's a woman who was sent to drop the letter, and they saw the lady having a picture taken with Bello Yaya Bello, the former governor. So I said, can you imagine? The woman is the one who went to submit petition against another woman. Is the debate for another day. Anybody to do it. Once you belong to that constituency, you can do it.
Okay, so anyone could, once you belong to the constituency, you could bring a petition, you know, to, but what of the issue of deception, as we have seen in this case? Is INEC not supposed to play a role? Because, of course, you have said that she only escaped by a whisker because you had 40-something%. So if it has gotten up 50%, irrespective of the method in which those signature was gotten, would INEC not have cared whether it was gotten by deception or it was actually gotten, the people who signed knew why they were signing?
I think what's there is that if they had got 50% or above, then the issue of finding out the thing was gathered would have come in.
Yeah, well, INEC said that 42 was valid.
Yes.
That what?
40-something% of the
because
signature.
They saw their name,
yeah,
they saw their NIN, they saw their voters card number, and so it's valid. You see, if it had scaled through, and there are people here that we did not know, people will now start writing petition, then that's where INEC could have come in to say, let's do random sampling, you know. But as it is, INEC doesn't have any hand in it. It's the people who say we are recording.
Yeah, because we are interested in knowing the whole process, because the issue of deception that we have seen here could also be employed, you know, to recall other senators in the future. You know, should INEC not supervise, just like INEC monitors the process when it comes to, you know, even inter-party elections, conventions, and all of that, to ensure that due process is followed?
Yes, like my good friend said, what happened in Kogi Central is something that could be termed as mass deception. Reason is this: the people were told to come for palliatives, and to identify themselves, they needed to come with their means of identification, their NIN and so on. And they went there thinking that it was actually meant for palliatives. And the way the economy of the nation is, if people see or hear that there's a place they can get something by way of palliatives, they will go. And they got there. And in order for whatever thing they wanted to do to be properly recorded, they gave them lists to put down their names and sign their signatures, which they did. And at the end of the day, the names were submitted, and fortunately or fortunately, depending on where you are coming from, the thing did not meet the required constitutional mandate. But then you discover also that if you put your ears to the ground, you may hear that these things were being done because the former governor is being prepared to take over her position as a senator for Kogi Central, the former governor of Kogi State. That is what you can hear from the background if you put your ears to the ground. And the fact that the lady who went to submit it later went and took pictures with the former governor, tried to corroborate that allegation. And again, you also discover that when this lady said she wanted to go and celebrate the Muslim festival with her people in Kogi State, suddenly the state government came up with a ban on a rally. She never said she was going for a rally. The state government also, put a kind of ban on road movement by road. The local government in question imposed a curfew, and then the police came out to say that that whatever rally or meeting that have been scheduled by her and her people must be shelved. And then the question was why? They say for security reasons. That for security reasons, that rally must be shelved. And then to make good their plans, they made sure that there was no movement into and out of that area on that day in question. But the lady, out of wisdom, decided not to go by road. She flew there by helicopter, and I saw on television the number of people that were there, happily dancing with her, welcoming her, and so showing solidarity with her. Then you'll be wondering if this large mammoth crowd were there for her, then who are the people that had written their names and signed their signatures to recall her?
Yeah, but one would want to ask, is it not this kind of behavior that have even led to her recall in the first process? So the state government, don't they have the power to, for security purpose?
Yeah, I will answer that question.
Okay.
If the Constitution has given the constitutional right to every Nigerian, right to freedom of movement, right to liberty, and even the right to associate with others.
Freedom of assembly.
Assembly and association.
Yeah, but those freedom with that, people argue that it's not absolute.
Yes, they are not absolute, but they can only be contained by a law, not the verbal said, not the oral directives of the governor. The Constitution is the supreme law, is the organic law of the country. There is no other law or instrument or statute that can ever override the Constitution. And the Constitution has said that yes, because these rights are fundamental, they are basic rights, and they must be respected at all times. And of course, you know that these rights are part of the rights that are global. Our fundamental rights instruments are from international treaties, international human rights treaties that show that some rights are basic to human beings because they are human. Now, our Constitution says that this right can only be derogated from in cases of emergency or other, unforeseeable occurrences, and that has to be done by legislation. There has to be a law passed to say that yes, that these constitutional provisions that guarantees human rights need not be complied with because of this, and that was not done in this case. What that we saw was that the governor just said because of security reasons and security report. What are those reports? Of course, the governor is the chief law officer of the state. But you see, when you are dealing with the people, you must deal with the people sincerely, transparently, and with objectivity. If you are saying that, because they say that there were people that had a dispute and so
some
skirmishes and 2 people were killed, yes, and so on. That now, how does that concern? Because that did not happen in the vicinity where she was to host her people. Now, how does that now translate to imposing no movement, no land movement? Again, the issue of the police ordering them to cancel whatever rally, forgetting that the court has already said that police does not have the powers under our law to stop rally. ANPP and IGP. That was the case that dragged the police to court. And the court said that the political party, they have a right to carry on the rally, provided it's a peaceful one. And that what the police is to do is to go and provide security for them.
And maintain peace.
And maintain peace. So the right to rally, right to protest and so on, they are constitutional. They are lawful globally and even in Nigeria. But in this case, as if it was a legislation, it was not even a legislation, it was they were directives aimed at frustrating this lady. The governor came, made his own, the police made own, and the local government made their own. The lady flew in with helicopter, and the world was able to see, not just in Nigeria, the world was able to see that this lady had a lot of supporters in her base. Who are those out to call her back? And my good friend Akpoti even said that the New York Times carried a story about this lady, that they came all the way to
but the
interview her.
The proclamation by the governor did not really, it was a statewide proclamation, not just wasn't restricted to her local government.
I didn't say it was restricted to her local government.
It wasn't targeted at her.
No. There is no way you prove that, because the thing was not made immediately after the so-called people were killed. It was immediately made her intention known to come and meet with her people to,
but as a senator and a law-abiding citizen, is she not supposed to obey her government?
No, the question is this.
Now let me come in. Let me come in, please.
All right.
On a serious note, some laws are made, and it doesn't say you should not break the law. Break the law and face the consequence. How about that?
Yeah.
The law doesn't say I should not kill. Say if I kill, I will be killed. So, I think the lady knew from all situations that was confronting her that, look, these people are making up, because they knew she wanted to come and celebrate the Salah, Ramadan, fast breaking with the people. So it was then that they now said, oh no, we are doing roadblock, we don't want people to come. All these antecedents show that this is not the same road that was broken and destroyed during the election because of that lady. So she knew everything was targeted at her. And she was smart enough to come by road. She didn't break the rule. She didn't come by road. There would be plots would have stopped her. So she flew, and there was no air traffic to stop her. So, you see, that's number one. Number two, you see, the way we are presenting this thing, that is now becoming an international thing. Okay, the New York Times sent one Taibat Ajiboye to go and interview her. And what did she carry out? She said, female senator faces down a classic abuse of power in Nigeria.
Yeah, but doctor,
Yes.
you know, this social media or public opinion litigation by her, you know, should a serving senator, because of course he who alleged, if a case is in court,
Yes.
she should allow the court to adjudicate it sub judice, and she goes around locally and internationally, you know.
No, she has been warned now. She has been warned by the new judge to let the law take its course, which is okay. You see, she's a young person, you know, youthful exuberance.
After she would have gone to New York, gone to US,
No,
you know.
New York Times came to interview her in Abuja. She didn't go, but because it's already developing.
Is that not a national embarrassment if an arm of government?
It is.
And as a senator, is she not supposed to protect the image of the country?
Yes, the country should protect its own image too. Let people in power do the right thing. On a serious note, certain things, you see, those who make peaceful resolution impossible make revolution inevitable. It's not, we all know that. Those who make peaceful resolution impossible.
Because if she's litigating her case at the television houses instead of the court.
Yes, they said so.
No.
But now the warning has just come 2 days ago for her to keep short. She's not the one talking about, the masses will still talk whether you like it or not.
Now, there's an area that I want to clarify, and that is the issue of breaking a law or not breaking a law. She personally said that she had not broken any law. She said it. And I agree with her. Because if you look at it, she has a freedom of movement guaranteed by the Constitution of Nigeria. She has a right to assemble with her people guaranteed by the Constitution of Nigeria. And then the only grounds upon which those rights will be curtailed or derogated from is when we look at section 45 of the Constitution of Nigeria, which said that those rights will be curtailed one if there is any law that is reasonably justifiable in a democratic society. In cases of emergency, are due to a proclamation by the president of Nigeria. You can see that in section 45 subsection 3. In this section, a period of emergency means any period in which there is a proclamation of a state of emergency declared by the president, the exercise of the powers conferred on him under section 3 of the Constitution. Did the president declare a state of emergency nationwide? No. Did the president declare a state of emergency in Kogi State? No. Now, the basis for that derogation is that there has to be a state of emergency.
Yeah, but we see governors declare curfew and all of that in order to maintain security, and that has not been declared as invalid.
Now, we are looking at the Constitution, saying where the conditions under which the provisions that confer fundamental rights on Nigerians could be derogated from, and the Constitution itself has declared that that can be done when there is a law that is justifiable in a democratic society in period of emergency declared by the president. Now, let us look at what you just mentioned, where the governors, impose curfew. Governors can impose curfew in instances where maybe there are serious dangers, and then in a situation like that, maybe the governor has, maybe there is maybe a serious disease or something, but even that's not enough reason, because we need to find justifiable reason. It's not just the government waking up one morning to say, well, there is insecurity, I have a report from somewhere, I haven't disclosed the security report. No, the answer is no. Because the reason for it must be justifiable. That is it. So, is it justifiable for the government just to wake up and say that they got a security report, and for that reason, nobody should come or out of the city or out of the state? That is autocratic. Because maybe some people may be coming out from outside the country to Nigeria, entrance of Kogi State, because the governor wanted to target an individual. That's why I say it. He decided to say that nobody should come in and nobody should go out. That is not democratic, because the basis, the litmus test, the parameter is that thing, is this justifiable in a democratic society? And again, has there been any state of emergency declared by the president? The answer is no. And of course, the fact that somebody did something in the past, maybe a governor did something and nobody questioned it, does not mean that that thing is constitutional.
All right.
What is important is what has happened. Is it constitutional? Does it meet the requirements of the constitution? Because the constitution is the compass.
Yeah, but shouldn't she be going to court to enforce her fundamental rights if she feels that her fundamental right has been breached by that declaration?
But,
no.
If you want her to do that, then the Salah that she want to celebrate would have gone back.
Yeah, of course, the court will award her damages for the
how many damages have they paid when they award such damages? My brother, please, on the serious note.
Assuming there is a law.
Yes, we are very, very certain of people breaking the laws or breaking proclamations, especially a serving senator, because so many people have said that it's this kind of behavior that have landed her in the problem that she's currently.
What kind of behavior?
You know.
Because that is the question. What kind of behavior?
My dear brother, be ready to stand for yourself.
She saw that there was a proclamation that was targeted at her.
Yeah, not just this. We have seen her issue with the Senate president and how, in fact, she even alleged that they were planning to kill her, that the Senate president has ordered her assassination without even going through the appropriate channel to litigate, because these are allegations. You know, the number 3 man in the country, the Senate president, is the number 3, laying such weighty allegation and litigating your case in the press even while your case is in court. And as a serving senator, one would expect her to know that, and she is even a lawyer. One would expect her to know that once a case is in court, you are not expected to make further, statement concerning that matter.
The case in court is not attempted.
It has nothing to do with the attempts. The attempt to kill her, the allegation of attempts to assassinate her are criminal allegations. They are not the matter.
Yeah, even the case of assault and all of that, that she has gone to CNN, she has gone to the UN, she has gone all over the world, to tell them that Nigerian Senate, assault women and deny them their right, and that's what has been in the headlines of so many international newspapers.
Now, the issue before the Senate, which was what she took to court, was the issue of her suspension, and that the suspension could be put on hold, that even they should not proceed with that matter. And you and I know as lawyers that once a matter is filed in court and the party that is supposed to be served has been served or had notice of it, that the other party must stop whatever has been planned to do until the court has decided the matter. That is the principle of law that has been there over the years. We took it.
Yeah, she's supposed to be making statement concerning
this. Hold on. We got it from England, the Ferguson and Daniels, where somebody, knew that a particular plaintiff wanted to sue and apply for injunction to stop the building or the construction of a building, because the person already knew that the building was to be stopped through the summons that was to be served. It had not been served, but already got wind of it, and then employed laborers, and they worked day and night all through Sunday. By Monday, they had already erected the building, and the court said no. So long as you are aware that there was already a summons to stop the construction of this building, and you expedited action to complete it, that building must be pulled down. And to pulled down, irrespective of the right of the parties as far as the court is concerned. Now,
all right, let's go on a short break, and then we return. We would take your comments. You continue with your train of thought. We'll go on a very short break, and when we return, we'll continue with this train of thought. Stay tuned. We'll be back very shortly. Welcome back. If you are just joining us, you are on to your favorite program, Democracy on the Rule of Law. So I was asking.
Like I was saying.
No, I was asking the conduct of litigating because you are going through another because she has gone to UN.
What I was saying is that when she had an issue at the Senate with the Senate President and so on, and then the constitute a committee to look into our matter and decide what punishment could be meted out to her. Before they commence their proceedings, she went to court and got an interim order to stop that committee from proceeding. And the committee ignored the court order, the court process, and went ahead.
Yeah, of course, she will go back to the court. She will go back to the court.
And the law is that so long as they already aware of the court order and the proceedings, their hands are effectively tied.
Yeah.
They are not supposed to do so. So having done so, that whatever they have done ought to, in law, be set aside by the court. It doesn't affect their substantive rights. Whichever side is right or wrong, that will be left to be determined by the court.
Yeah, what I'm saying,
the issue is that the court must not be placed with a situation of helplessness. Now, in her case, she went to court. They ignored it and proceeded and suspended her. Then she came out and started telling the world that this is what she's passing through. And the international community is aware that she has made allegations. And so the question is, why is she talking, or what is your question?
Yeah, my question is that being a senator
Yes.
of the Federal Republic of Nigeria,
yes.
of course, part of our oath is to ensure that the image of the country, she's like an ambassador of the country. She should ensure the image of the country is protected at all times.
Yes.
You know, having gone to the world to tell them that an arm of government, the head of an arm of government, is riddled with, she was sexually assaulted, even though it was an allegation which could either be true or false, but thereby putting Nigeria, bringing them to ridicule and all of that, that those who occupy the highest offices of the land, can be found to engage in such behaviors, even though it is still an allegation. I'm asking as a senator, is that not a grant for those who feel that she has overstepped her bound to even initiate her recall?
Yes, now I don't believe or share the view that because she cried out that merits her recall. The reason is this: we have seen that she has believed within herself that she may not get justice, that she needed to cry out loud, let the world know and hear her before whatever may before her eventually happens. And she has gone outside the shores of Nigeria not to destroy the image of this nation, no, not to ridicule the nation, no. What she has gone out to do is to say that I am a victim, and that I don't believe that in the institution where I come from, that's the Senate, that she will get fair justice, she will get fair treatment.
People in the court.
And
then let's get the opinion of
the issue of sexual harassment. It's not new. It's not new in Nigeria. Even in US, a former president of United States was accused of sexual harassment.
Yeah, but we didn't see them coming to Nigeria, arise and channels to come and tell us what is happening. So, doctor, let us get your opinion. They subjected to the court and they allow the court to do their work. They don't go all over the world telling people,
Of course, Nigeria, the world is a global village. Whatever happens anywhere is known.
So, doctor, let's get your opinion on this.
On a serious note, Natasha did certain things that she shouldn't have done. On a serious note, being a lawyer, being a senator, but you see, I don't agree with what she did totally. But you see, what I just suspected was that she felt in that scenario, in that environment, that if she doesn't cry out, she might not be treated with fairness. Okay, look at the people who they asked to go to that committee to go and support. Obi Ezekwesili was asked to represent, in her capacity from the United Nations. And she got there and she had she had altercation with the senator, another senator there, who was trying to keep her shut and cow her. It was insulting between two of them. That's the environment where we are. Where some people think that, oh, if she's a woman, women are not supposed to talk. No, we should have passed that era. So I'm not saying what Natasha did is totally right. But I think why she did it was because she feared that she wouldn't get
Is that not an indictment on our institutions? If she feels that she couldn't get justice, let's assume that she couldn't get justice in the Senate.
My dear brother,
she could also not get justice in the court.
My dear brother, is the institution not indicted already? What are you talking about indictment? When you hear people just say, go to court, go to court. Do you know all people have turned it to? They've turned it to the fact that if you go to court, you won't get justice.
As a senator, is she not supposed to be proud of the institution? As a lawmaker in the country of the highest, is she not be the one protecting the institution instead of going through the world? Especially now that we are talking about foreign direct investment coming into the country and so many countries going around the world to let them know that our institutions are ineffective and what you can't trust.
Well, at the end of the day, she has done what she did, and I believe if she has. If the wheel of time is reversible, there are certain things she wouldn't have done, but then she's done it. And why she did it, I can tell you. She's a young lady, she's in her 40s.
Yeah, but she's a senator.
She's a senator, but that's youthful exuberance, you cannot take it away from anybody. Look at Dino Melai when he was there, just arranging cars and saying this car is the fastest one. These are things that an adult will not do. So, forget about youthful exuberance, it's there for them. So, I can pardon them, but then in future people will say, what you did, please, next time you have this kind of scenario, don't go that way. Because going to the United Nations was not necessary on a serious note. I will tell you that as a person, if I'm a legal advisor, I'll say don't go that route, because they are not the people to come and vote you in future. You need the support of your constituency. So that kind of a thing. But at the end of the day, if you believe that things will work out fine, you wouldn't go that way. Like you are bringing in the case of America and the case of Monica Lewinsky versus Bill Clinton. It was addressed. They got to the nitty-gritty of the matter, and Bill Clinton had to apologize. But in Nigeria, if you are involved with such a thing, it will die a natural death. So we have not got there yet, but by God's will get there, because righteousness exalts a nation, sin is a reproach to any people. Until we get there, I won't blame that girl. I didn't like what she did, but I won't blame her for what she did, because she felt she won't get justice.
All right.
Well, I know that the matter is in court concerning her suspension and all that. The court will
even the sexual assault itself.
Yes, the court will take all that. But then concerning what has happened, concerning the recall and all that, I don't quite agree that if things are not going on well, that the best posture is to keep quiet or to confine yourself to the institutional environment where you perceive you may never get fairness and justice. Because the converse is true. If an institution, a place is not right, what it takes for it to continue in its rot is for people to just keep quiet. But if someone has the courage of his conviction and comes out to say that this is not right, it is the person is saying in other words that there's need to change some things. There's need for a change. And one thing that is constant in life is change. I recall that a retired Justice of the Supreme Court, on the day he was being sent for the validity session, he came out to tell Nigerians and the entire world that certain things need to be changed in the apex court. He even went as far as saying that there was palpable corruption. People were thinking that the man was immodest by use of words. But this is someone who has been there in the Supreme Court for years. What he did was not to destroy the institution, but he called for a change, a drastic change that will make our institutions better.
Call for sanity.
Yes. If what Natasha has done will bring sanity, will make things to be what they're supposed to be, Nigeria will be better off. Like I had cause to be discussing with somebody yesterday, and we're looking at in a normal society, a democratic society, a society that lays claim to constitutional democracy, that the three arms of government are supposed to checkmate each other, checks and balances, separation of powers. And then we went down memory lane to look at the years when the executive did certain things and the courts will say no, what you did is illegal, it's unconstitutional, and the court will nullify it. And of course, sometimes the legislature might pass laws and the court will strike down the law that is inconsistent with the constitution. We had such things in the past. There are so many of them. Those were days that the three arms were not bedfellows. No, speaking the same language, doing the same thing. In the past, in the 70s, when a law was made targeted at an individual to fulfill the properties of an individual, the court said no, you cannot pass this kind of law. Even under a military dispensation, the court had the court to say no. But these days, we don't see that robust checks and balances that will make the executives to be on their toes, to ensure that whatever they do is in line with the prescriptions of the Constitution. And then the legislators to ensure that the laws that are making are in tandem with the existing laws. And of course, the judiciary. And of course, that was why a lot of Nigerians were out there advocating for the total independence of the judiciary. So it will be like, yes, if you give judgments against the government of the day, either at the federal or state level, then the judge who did that will be subjected to one form of sanction or another. But what we find ourselves today is that the three arms are working together in a way that the other Nigerians are watching. Now, the Senate, they have their proceedings, they have their rules of procedure and all that. But if there are discriminations in the Senate, as Natasha has claimed, and is eventually found that there are discriminations, is such a highly revered chambers expected to, to be indulging in any form of discrimination, gender or otherwise? I don't think so. Because that is the upper chambers. That is the upper chambers. And the world is moving. The world is dynamic. And what is the world saying? That there are rights. Rights for everybody. Whether male or female. And so nobody should be subjected to any form of discrimination on grounds of gender.
All right.
Or even political affiliation.
All right, Dr. Some would disagree that there is discrimination on the ground of gender because, as we have seen, even in this dispensation, we have seen a lot of males that have been suspended. The senator from Borno was suspended at the time. That was and so many other males were disciplined by the Senate. This Northern senator was also suspended at the time, because another one who talked about budget padding was also suspended because he didn't come out with facts, which was a breach of the Senate rules and all of that. And this we are males, and nobody talked about.
I didn't say that only Natasha was suspended. I never said that. All I said is that Natasha claimed that she was being discriminated.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
That she was being victimized.
So of
the
course,
issue is for her to prove.
Yeah, of course, by virtue of what
the rules is that
by virtue
assault must prove.
Yes.
Yeah, by virtue of
advance must prove.
By virtue of what we know, we could of course correctly assume that this is not a gender-based issue because we have seen both male sexes being suspended for infracting the Senate rules. So it is not gender-based as
well, you cannot draw that conclusion until the court has come up with a finding.
Okay, well, that's our opinion.
I think it's right in the sense that some senators have been suspended, and they've fulfilled the condition for their suspension, and they've come back. But you know, when we look at the case of Natasha, all because you cannot speak from that place that is not your seat, and then it's developed into like a sort of disagreement with the Senate President, and then the commission that she should go away for 6 months came up, and you know, those sort of things. Well, some people can be beaten and they don't cry because they have the absorber to absorb it. But some will be beaten and they will cry. So Natasha has cried.
Yeah, because we saw Senator Ningi. I can remember his name. He was suspended at the time.
And then, as my learned brother, my learned colleague said, he who has must prove. She must get all the proof. Yes. Because at the end of the suspension is when the issue of sex abuse now came in.
Which was not the case even before then.
Before then, yes.
And so this was issue that happened.
As it is, I can tell you, I've been a lawyer for almost 3 decades in Nigeria now. That one is a bit difficult to prove. So the law will help her to prove that one. So when clients come to me and say they want to, part of what they want to do with husband is because the man committed adultery. I said, well, did you have the video? You caught them on bed? No. I have the text message. Please put adultery away. Let's take that. You've not lived together for 2 years. He has abandoned you. He did not do his duty on the bedroom. Because when it comes to adultery in Nigeria, it will take you 20 years to prove adultery in most cases.
All right.
So,
okay. We are almost out of time, so we'll just get your last statement.
The area my very good friend mentioned, which I tend to agree with, is that what really kickstarted the whole process is something that could easily have been resolved. Because from what I heard, that changing of seats of senators is something that is common in the Senate. That they can change your seats and all that and all that. If that, from what we learned, that was the issue of change of saying that she said she was not going to take it and so that, then that is the area I felt that she may not have done it well. If you are a senator and you are given a seat and later that seat is changed, so long as you still have your right to, you know, move your motions and argue motions for and against and do all that you are supposed to do, that's no problem. Although behind it, she is equally alleging that she has been making attempts to have her bills, you know, presented, you know, by way of motion, that she has been denied, that she has been suffering in silence over time. I wouldn't say more than this.
All right.
By the time the court hear the whole story, the court will be in a better position to, you know.
So would you advise her to continue to go to media houses around the world to mitigate her case?
No, she cannot do that.
Since they have been told to, you know, allow the judicial process to take its turn, and I'm sure she would not do that. But you see, people will still be discussing her matter as affects our democratic practices and principles in this country.
All right. Doctor, let's take your last one. They're almost out of time.
Well, I'll
Just
advise
30
Natasha
seconds.
to keep her mouth shut for now. Let the court take its course, and Natasha supporters too. Let's stop all these sending of messages. Once it is in court, it becomes a subjudice for you to start discussing what's before the court.
And let's not forget the allegation she made that there were attempts to assassinate her. Whether it's true or not is a matter that the police need to go into, investigate it, and find out if there's an iota of truth in it or not, because life has no duplicate. If one is sent to the world beyond, then that person has been shot. The mouth of that person has been closed forever.
All right, thank you very much